Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, somewhere, and talk about just a. I want to use the word crazy, but I didn't find it crazy yesterday. I found it responsible. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. We call them the Doge twins. The Department of Government Efficiency, and what they're trying to do is find about $1.5 trillion wasted dollars a year, and reel in the overspending U.S. government. And between that, yesterday with a bill, because by Friday the government shuts down if they don't expand the borrowing, and so between that and the excitement at the Federal Reserve, where Mr. Powell again showed us how disconnected he is. I mean, look at some of the where's my phone? Let's look at some of the titles that I've actually labeled some of the webinars here. Just double check to make sure there's sound. Yep. Yeah, there you go. I can hear the sound. All right. So over the last couple of weeks, I mean, I've come up with some. It's pathetic. Let's put it that way. It is purely pathetic. But let me just say some of these, just out loud, because it is so fascinating. Because I keep on telling everybody. Well, yesterday was the golden oldie negative rates. In other words, quantitative easing and negative rates. I was like, oh my God. Hey, Robin, how you doing? And yes, ask any questions, jump into any subject, any product you want to see. Just throw the symbol up on the chat line, or ask a question about it, and we'll go and give you that. But here was yesterday's title. This is well before everything happened. Golden oldie negative rates. In other words, the Fed keeps on dropping rates when inflation keeps on going up. How about the day before that? Fed doesn't do finance, without a doubt. They're so totally clueless to inflation and what's going on. And the day before that was trust your research. In other words, because we were talking about technical and algorithms and so forth. And the day before that was algorithm, how to manage them. And then I'm sure I'm going to beat up on Powell. We talk about three positions: long, short, and neutral. That's a title. A day before that. Oh, here's one. Back on December 11th, the Fed follows inflation data, because they follow it, but they don't do anything about it. And here's one. AI Fed versus consciousness and free markets. I mean, the Fed is in our conversation all the time. It gets worse and worse and worse. I think I said command and control economy versus free markets. It just goes on. They don't seem to understand. It just doesn't stop. The Fed. I already have the title for today in my head, and that is the Fed doesn't do economics or inflation. They don't understand any of it. I mean, they missed for a year and a quarter. 15 months they didn't see any inflation, and it ran to 20%, 10%, 15%, something like that. Some historic move. Then they had to start. Then they started raising rates. So, Abdul, how you doing? Welcome, thank you. Welcome, good seeing you this morning, this afternoon, or this evening. Welcome to you, too. Took a sip of my tea on that one. So, yesterday, let me see if we can put some of these up. I saved some of these. Let's see, what's this? This is where Trump calls the bluff of the crazy financial bill. And what's amazing? Let's go back to the chart, but we're going to just talk about that for a second. Powell talked yesterday about, what do they call them, TARFs. Well, for 4 years, the guy has not said one word about Biden spending a $7 trillion extra in the budget, pushing it up to $15 trillion for the 4 years. Not one time has he ever said anything about that. But all of a sudden, he's worried about TARFs in the future. It's like he doesn't understand finance. He doesn't understand government. He doesn't understand the economy. He doesn't understand inflation. The guy is a disaster, a total disaster. I like those memes. That's good, Abdul. I agree with you. I mean, he is clueless, totally clueless, and almost a year and a half had to go by before he raised an interest rate from zero. That's why yesterday I was saying, it's like, golden oldie, negative interest rates. And then when he raises rates, he's pretty aggressive at it. But if he'd only done it a year and a half earlier, it would have been, we wouldn't have had as much of a problem. As much as I disagree with John Maynard Keynes and the socialist economic theory, at least he would have slowed the economy down and we wouldn't see prices as high. So then from there, he's governing. This is Mr. Powell is telling us he's watching employment, and employment's doing great, when in fact employment's doing horrible. They just had to remove almost 1 million jobs. In other words, the numbers were fudged. They were rounded out. They didn't make sense. And at the same time, for a year and a half now, it's like a schedule with this guy. Actually, it's a year and a quarter going on a year and a half. They're looking at the employment number, and the employment number is growing only for one reason. That is because the government keeps on hiring people. If it's in the medical field or the taxation field or the administrative field, the government is basically hiring people. Private sector jobs are disappearing. We're losing private sector jobs. And so that means that he doesn't understand how to govern an economy or grow an economy or function as an economy. Carrefour? Sure. Well, not that much, but following. Okay, let's see what Carrefour looks like. Sounds good to me. We'll go over to the beta. We'll add it in there. Product. Well, we're looking at the product. Let's just show you the, let's see, what should we put up there? Let's put up the euro so you can have something to look at like that at the same time. And then we'll go from there. And I'll come back to the beta. This way you don't have to, matter of fact, you can, if you want, you can even see the 4 stock indices in the United States ticking away a little bit there. Let's see if I can do this. See, it's right there. You can see they're all lifting up this morning, coming off of that crazy sell down. Not crazy sell down. It was meaningful and correct because, we've got a Fed that is totally clueless, doesn't know what's going on. We've talked about it here. I heard again another person on Fox Business talking about how the Fed is out of touch with the markets because they've been doing quantitative easing for 16 years now, since the beginning of Mr. Obama, right? So right as the election was happening, and he became a president-elect, we started doing quantitative easing. So, you're talking about the end of 2008 and then to end of 2024. So that's 16 years. They've been doing quantitative easing and messing with the interest rates. And it's like, it's just so horrible. And yesterday, there was another thing, too. Mr. Powell basically told us inflation is going up. So why is he lowering a 0.25% interest rate? That's the problem. He doesn't understand, and people want to pretend that he actually knows what he's doing when he doesn't know what he's doing. Let's see, Carrefour. CARRE. There it is. Carrefour SA. Does that look right? Around $13.50? I think it's in euros, so that's cool. All right, let's do this. Here it comes. We found it, that's for sure. Yeah. So anyway, that is our. I guess you can say that's our gripe for the yesterday's action. It's just, it's just sad. that we have such a irresponsible Federal Reserve that is trying to practice a socialism that Europe's going through right now, which is not exactly the best way to govern. So let's see, create product. There it is. And let's entertain you. Let's make you smile. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Here comes car 4. There's car 4. So the last 5 weeks it's been in a sell. You can see like that weekly sell right there. Let's see. Let's get you the date on that. That would be November something, I would imagine. And then we can show you the rest of them too. So basically, since the week of the 22nd, so there's the week of the 22nd. There's the 11th. There's the right in this week right here. It went into the weekly sell, up in the 1476, with a high of that day of 1497, and it's traded down to 1353. So $1.20. So about a 6-7% drop. You can see here. Let's do this. We'll go like this. Put it all together too, like that. So there is the second. There is the first. Okay, so that's not too bad. And then like that. Let's see if we do this better. If I go like that. So there's the 22nd, the close of the 22nd, which is let's see, up in here. There's the 22nd. That's the end of the week. So it went into the sell somewheres in this week. It went into the weekly sell right there. And so at the same time, you can see we got it on the 20th, November 20th, which is right there. We went into the algorithm went into a sell for that. Basically for that. Oh, you jumped into the buy for a day there. There's the 16th. Is that right? What's that? That is the 26th. Yeah, so it jumped into a buy for a day or two. But remember, traders and Abdul, you don't take the long on that. You just hedge yourself or do nothing solely because it's in it's been in weekly sells throughout that. So you don't get long on that move up, and then when it goes into the sell again right there on the 16th. Which is right. There's the. What is that? That's the 16th. I guess that's the 16th. You go into. You get short on that one. And you can see we have green dots, but it's still in a sell because it's below the 0 line here. And that put it into the sell, and we're in a weekly sell. So you're short from, if you're trading it that way, 1380, and today or yesterday, today it's down to 1355. That was the low. So it's a nice tight product, trades nice, can't complain about that. That's good. So I hope that helped out. Is that all right? Okay, there it is. What else do we want to talk about here? I'm going to go to the dollar index because it just reflects, and the bonds reflect all the insanity that's going on there. Let me just show you the 10-year. The 10-year bond, how we do that, and then we'll put the dollar index up. And right there's the 10-year. You see that drop yesterday from all that. In other words, they just remember again. We're going to just re-emphasize this one more time, like we always do. When the bond price is going up like that, then what means is that interest rates are dropping. So just what Mr. Powell tried to do yesterday. Okay, he lowered interest rates, right? The official rate. But notice, this is not up here. It's not all the way up to there. it's down. So in other words, the market doesn't believe what he's doing makes sense. So you know how they say put your money where your mouth is. That's exactly what's going on. The market's saying no, we don't trust what you have to say, and now we're at new lows right there. We've taken out much lower lows. So that is what the problem is. And you can see today it's down again. And so he cuts interest rates a quarter, and basically the market takes it away from him and says, no, you're all wrong. What you're doing makes no sense. You got to stop what you're doing. And that's where we are at the moment. And then when we go over to the dollar index, you see the same action. There's a big spike on the upside from that Powell testimony, I guess you could call it. He didn't really make a lot of sense to begin with yesterday. I watched the whole thing. He's kind of just out there rambling. He kind of is doing. He's becoming more like the former the vice president we have now, Kamala Harris. Kind of not making a lot of sense, just kind of saying words and leaving it at that. But he did know how to tell us, oh my goodness, there could be tariffs and that could hurt us. But he didn't have anything to say about the Biden financial epidemic. So you have the COVID financial epidemic at the end of the Trump first administration, and Mr. Trump resolves it. And then we had 4 years of the Biden financial epidemic. It was just as big a mess, and inflation exploded through the roof. So that's the problem. That is the problem. That's exactly what the problem is. So there is that. And nice, good. I think you're using the beta, right? Abdul, you're using the beta? I can turn that one on for you if you want it on your platform. Just let me know. I can turn it on, right now. This way you can look at it. Let me see. What do we got going on here? Let's go back to the regular screen. And so, yesterday's market, this big slide here, just, let's see if we can put one of these up. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average yesterday. That big slide is all from Mr. Powell just being, we've been in a daily sell too on a daily for a while. We should show you that. I mean, where's that? That's the Z. I should be showing you the March. We've been in a daily sell since back in here. Since the 40, little under 45. Yeah, that's because of the Federal Reserve. They're just doing goofy things. It went into the weekly sell last week, right here. Let's see if we do this. How do we do this? Oh, are you seeing that? No, you're not seeing it. Check this out. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We've been in this sell since up here, almost the 45,000 area. A daily sell all the way through all that. And we went into a weekly sell here, and then let's see what the beta looks like. Do we have it even on the beta? Let's see if we have it on the beta. I don't pay attention to them too much on here. But, in other words, I look at the Dow every day, but I don't trade it. I trade other things. The dollar is strong because the Federal, it's paying interest rates. And so we're not dropping. I guess that's part of I could tell you why I think Powell does so many stupid things. I guess that's a bad way of describing it. Why Powell is inefficient at understanding inflation, economics, and managing the dollar. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. He's definitely incompetent, that's for sure. All right, so from there, let's go over and take a look at the euro this morning. Unless you want to see something else, and we'll gladly throw that up on the screen. I have no problem with that either. Let's see. What's the next thing? Let's look at, there's the euro. You can see the euro is bouncing up from the wild sell-off yesterday. It's trying to bounce back up. None of the currency pairs survived that action. It was a real, Mr. Powell saying stuff, saying next year's inflation is going to be higher. Everybody's going like during the news conference saying, on the professional side, are talking to each other. Not that the stupid media. Can I use the word stupid for media? How about the irresponsible media? The irresponsible media acting like as if it, no problem whatsoever. And Powell's sitting there saying, well, we're going, inflation is going up next year. It'll be higher than this year, but we're lowering rates at the same time. So he's feeding inflation at the same time. He's feeding inflation. Ugh. All right, and then from there we go to the British pound. Right there's the British pound. See, it's trying to do that bounce up, and at one point yesterday it was, 2 days in a bind, and it melted from Mr. Powell's concepts of economy. You see here it's just underneath the weekly sell. Yesterday it was up above it. We were climbing up into the weekly buy, and it all rolled over. That's why the bait is nice, because you can look into it and see what's going on. And it's only like 15 minutes delayed, so you're looking at dailies. It's better to be able to see that. The Swiss went up. Look at that. It went up to our top part of the channel and is rolling over today from it. I think that's cool. I always find that to be interesting. We identified the channel about a month and a half back. 2 months ago, we identified the channel, and back at the end of September, going into November, and here we are about 7 weeks ago, and it's supported the channel, the support and the resistance. Now it's hit the top end of the resistance. So let's see. From there, we go over to. I guess we could take a look at Canada. Canada's flying. Again, Trump keeps on telling Canada, look, if you're going to keep on taking $100 billion from us a year, why don't you just become a state? Make it easier. And that freaks them out, and it freaks out our leftists too, because most of that country, because the parliamentary system is all screwy. So the socialists get way more power than they should. Representative government allows for everybody to have an opinion, the smallest and the largest communities. Whereas in the way it's set up there, Trudeau has a 20% approval rating, but he's still prime minister. As we took a sip from our tea. Also, not counting the fact that Labour in England now is trying to delay the elections. It looks like May of next year could be the elections at this point. And they're on the same level, which is amazing. It's like only 22% of the population supports them. They're going to go down like a ton of bricks, and Nigel is one step closer to be the next Prime Minister of England. Yeah. All right, and so there is the Swiss hitting the top end of the range. We'll see it, see if it starts to break down. You can see the green line on the daily. You can see here the green line on, and the blue, which is interesting. It's still rising there for this move here, but they've met. And they're right on top of the manifold, the yellow manifold, the mirror images below and above their standard deviations, basically, of our math. So then from there, let's shoot over to what's this? Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Okay. So from there, the yen, look at that spike. They're taking out the top end of the range there. There's the top end of that range. That's something. All right, and then from there, we go over to the Turkish lira. And that's interesting. It's making a nice little bounce up. Slipped into, let's grab this cell right there. Right, there it is right there. Interesting, we were above the weekly number there yesterday until all this noise. We'll see. Today's what? Thursday. So we still have 2 full trading days. Maybe we'll see, the trend be our friend and turn around this trend this morning of lifting. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll go down to South African Rand. There's the South African Rand showing that constantly upward momentum, which more than likely drove down gold. Let's just see where gold is at. Let's see, gold. You see it's trying to get into the buy there this morning. We got a green and a red. Yesterday got driven down to 2600 and basically almost it settled just above 2650 by the last night. So let's see. I'm trying to see what else. Okay, there it is. All right, so at this point, what we're doing is we're looking at gold. So let's take a look at silver and see if silver is joining in the same way. Let's see. Silverado. Here's silver. And silver not bouncing as strong as gold. Gold is definitely lifting up again, and it's a popular product. It makes sense, and I guess there's not much more to be said about it than that. Really, that's the thing. That is the thing. And look at that. I mean, we've broken the $30 area. I'm sure that'll become some type of support. But you can see we've been in weekly sells now there's 3 and there's 6, and this is the 7th week. And you can see it on the spreadsheet. There it is right there. 6 weeks going on a 7th week as we speak. There's copper. This is interesting. You see here, the copper actually became a flight to safety, which was very interesting yesterday. They sold it down hard, but by the end of the day, they lifted it up. And you can see it's trying to climb into the weekly buy, but today they've gapped it back down again. So, that's that exchange thing. I just follow the numbers. I try not to interfere in them. I don't alter them. I tried that decades ago on a global level. Didn't work. Did it legally too, which was pretty cool. We, as a specialist on a couple stocks, we tried to close things in buys and sells against the overall flow. But being the specialist, you have the right to do that. And it didn't work. You can't fudge the math. The math will decide what to do by the overall free-floating market itself. All right, that's copper. Now let's go look at platinum. There's platinum. Platinum's doing their little bounce thing. And what's interesting is even with the slam down yesterday, it drove itself into a buy. When we first sent out this morning, it was up. You can see it there, minus 0.47. Now it's minus 0.33. I mean, it's very close to getting into the buy. There's 0.40 to 27. It's very close back and forth. You see that the weekly algorithms are pointing up, showing strength, and we just need to see it get through here. Maybe it's, as I think I said a couple days ago, it could be next week's business. Wouldn't that be interesting? Next week's business. All right, and then from there, so that's the metals complex. So let's go over and take a look at the, let's see, what do we look at? Oh, we'll look at the energy sector. So we'll take a look at, let's see, did we replace June crude? I think we have to replace June crude, or I will do that today for sure. Yeah, I got to replace June crude. So this is basically the last day of using it. I mean, right now, March, let me just show you. February crude is obviously where the strength is at right there. It's in a sell for a couple days here, but it barely challenges the settlement. Makes lows and comes back up. It's been very firm with that weekly signal. That's very interesting. And we're in a daily sell at the same time, so it's like, what's going on there? It's so in other words, we're in a neutral position at the moment. Now let's go find Brent. Put Brent up on the screen. Right there. There's Brent. You see, Brent has been pushing down for 4 days. Right there. Pressing down, pressing down. You see 3 days of sells. But again, that's another one of those. We're in a weekly buy for 3 weeks now. So it's a neutral. And, that's interesting, for the time of the year, since, crude oil makes heating oil, diesel and kerosene and all. So you would interpret that as, okay, this must be the place to be. There's long. And so we've been in a weekly buy for 3 weeks, but the buys have been winners. There was a buy right there, and that was a nice winner, But and you could take it, obviously, because you're in a weekly buy. Let's take a look at the heating oil. I just saw it. There it is right there. And there's heating oil. The heating oil, this is the kerosene and so forth. It's been in a weekly sell for 3 weeks, going on a 4th week, trying to turn into the buy with no problem right there. Look how high up it is. And we've been in a daily buy. Let's see, we went into the daily sell there. And it's in a daily sell, weekly buy, which means traders what? Neutral. It's in the neutral. Dow Jones Industrial Average up now 315 points. Since we started the webinar, Dow has moved from 130 to 318. So it's tripled its gain in the last 40 minutes. That's pretty cool. 35 minutes. All right, and then from there, let's see what else we got going on. From there, we'll go take a look at natural gas. We've seen strength in, not that, there we are. We've been seeing the action in natural gas. That's, a product that a lot of people use to generate more than just heat. The electricity and, power stations, the whole bit. You can see it's trying to climb into the buy. It's in the buy on a daily right there, so and you can see the strength still kicking out on it. And we seem to be dancing between the 360 area and all the way down to the was that the $3? Oh no, it's even lower, 280 area. But then that's this time of the year. It makes sense, we need this energy for the cold weather, so you would assume there'd be some strength in there. There we are. Okay, from there, let's go down to Spain. Let's see what's going on with the ENG. Right there. Ooh. This is very good for Europe. Look at that. The stock's down in the 11s now. Went into the weekly sell up in here in the high 12s. Now we're in the low 11s. No, high 11s. So it's a whole dollar. That's a big move for a stock that's trading at 12.80 and now it's trading at 11.80. What else can we say about that? We're happy that, you can see where Europe was in October. We were up into the 1360 area. Even then in October, late October, we were 1330 area. Now we're in the 1180 area. So we're happy to see this, gradual drop in the stock, that means that energy is becoming cheaper in Europe. That's a good thing. All right, and then from there, where do we go from there? So that's the end of our energies. So what we can do now is take a look at what the globe has been doing and see what kind of bounces we're getting out of the marketplace. Let's say we start off with Tokyo. Unless someone wants to see something specific, then we'll go to that first and then go to Tokyo. Let's see. There we are. You see, that's been pushing down. Not, but we're in weekly buys, so 3 weeks of weekly buy. But we've been in a daily sell throughout all this. So it's a neutral. Everybody's waiting to see what the next stimulus is. Like they put out a press release this morning, I think it was, or last night, that said something about they want to lower their interest rates and devalue their currency. I don't know how you devalue a currency that's locked to the dollar. You're talking about it's trading at 7 point something, and it'll be still trading at 7 point something. It's not like you're going to go like from 7 to 10 or something like that. It's going to be such a small little increment. I don't think that's going to work because people really want growth. They want to be able to invest in something and get money back. Okay. Let's look at that was Shanghai. Let's take a look at Tokyo. Now the currency, we saw the currency ripping on the upside. So they started bottom fishing right there today. They're buying in there too after this slide down of the Nikkei, but hasn't challenged these lows here. Whereas, the let's see how far back. Let's go take a look at the Dow, the Dow Jones Industrial Average again. Let's see, right there, and there, and you can see, let's tighten this up, and then we're going to show you the picture. So basically, it's what is that right there? That's October, and that is, I guess there's the October. Is that October 30th? What is that? October 25th, October 28th. So over here, you can see the Dow Jones Industrial Average doing basically the same thing, challenging, the same area right there. And so, it's given back pretty much the election pop, the success. Now, a lot of people, knew that Mr. Trump was going to win, so obviously, we've seen the product go from the 30, 38, 39, 40,000 area all the way up to the 45,000 area. So it's pretty good. Will that become a bottom? I would think possibly so. I think we're going to start seeing some bottoms because Mr. Trump and Mr. Vance, I thought it was really cute. The vice presidential candidate, or the vice president-elect, who's a senator, was down there talking with the speaker, and they said basically, take that bill and find a new one. This thing doesn't make any sense. You're throwing money away. And he had his son with him, too. That's so nice to see a father and a son. Elon Musk does that. He has one of his sons all the time with him. So, it's just, it's basically becoming more and more clear that Mr. Trump has jumped into the game. He's out there telling them this is bad. The vice president's saying it's bad. The majority of the Republicans are saying this is bad, and more than likely they'll just find a way to raise the debt ceiling, and that will be it, what they call a clean CR. So, all right. So from there, we'll go back over to the global markets. And there, again, is the Nikkei having, some selling pressure, but yesterday they grabbed it and started buying it with that gap down. And you see we're very close to going back into the buy too right there. Let's just make that bigger so you can see it. Right on the edge. All right, and then from there we shoot over to Taiwan or Hong Kong. Which one should we do? Let's do Hong Kong. Let's see if Hong Kong did a gap down and started to rise from it. We'll take a look at the Hang Seng right there. Yeah, that did the same thing. They gapped it down from there to there, and it's lifting up. All right, it actually made it into the daily buy. How about that right there? And it's in a weekly buy from here. So it's been in a daily sell throughout this whole move, and now it's trying to climb into the buy, and we're in a weekly buy, so it's telling us to be long or be wrong. Now let's go back to Shanghai. I want to say I didn't really mean to at the time to click Shanghai, but I did. And so, okay, so Shanghai is also doing most of the same work, except for, it's trying to fill the gap. That's cool, but it's still a red dot. So it's not into the buy yet, but it's in that weekly buy for 3 weeks. And at the same time, the algorithm has jumped into it. So if this goes green tomorrow, that becomes a buy. From there, we shoot over to Taiwan. And then we'll go to South Korea from there. There's Taiwan, the home of chip makers. It's doing the same thing, a gap, and it's in a buy, and it's pushing into the weekly buy right there. So it gapped down, turned into a buy. It's got a green dot right there, and at the same time, we're above the zero line right there, and we're in the weekly. The same way, we're rolling along. Then from there, we'll go over to the Kospi in South Korea. I just want to make sure there's no other messages on the chat line. Nope. Okay, good. All right, and there is the Kospi. And you see it's trying to do, it didn't leap as much. It's definitely being pounded. I think the actual algorithm is very close. Did it make it? Yeah, it made it into the buy. That's yesterday. It may be, by the end of today, we will probably find this thing trying to get into the buy. Unfortunately, it's been in a weekly sell for a while now, since up in here. So, you can't get long it. Okay, so now from there, we go over to, let's go see what Jakarta's doing. Oh no, Singapore Straits Times. Usually they have some insight. They seem to be ahead of the curve many times. So let's see where the Singapore Straits Times is at. I think it's right next to the DAX. STI. Let's find DAX. I find DAX. I find STI. There it is. I did the same thing. And is that an 18th? That's the 18th. So we're not seeing the algorithm yet. But we're in a weekly buy for 3 weeks here. And chances are we're getting very close. We'll see. That could be Monday's business. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at Jakarta. And we've done basically the South Pacific and the Pacific. right there. Look at that slide. I guess that's the energy. You know, they're an energy nation. We're pushing into the weekly sell. We've been in a daily sell since back on the 11th. So since right there. Actually, it would be the 12th there. So it's been pressing down. Let's just see. 16th, 15th. Okay, so that's 4. Okay, and then what's that? The 12th. That's the 12th. Okay, so it is there. So it it's in a sell. That's today right there, and that's on the algorithm. It's just showing it a day. I mean the way they characterize it. That's what it comes down to. Okay, so it is in a sell, and that's the red dot, and that is showing the minus. And then from there, we shoot over to we haven't looked at the Nifty 50 in a while. Ever since they did that brick conference, their currency and their stock market in particular has felt some pain from it. It was up in here before the conference started. Up in the 20, it was at the 26,000 area, and by the end of the conference, it was down to the 23,000 area. They've been trying to dig it back. That's interesting. It's still at the 23,000 area. And there's 23,000, the low of 23,263, and today it's at 23,951, trying to lift up a little bit. A couple days in a sell there, and it's pushing into the sell there. I think that that's as we saw Mexico leave the negotiations of being a brick. We thought Mexico would be literally the biggest brick in the world. I mean, they're an oil nation. I don't know, 3, 4, 5 million barrels a day, depending on their productivity. They're the largest trading partner with the United States. So, they had a very good currency, and it was trading much lower and really healthy. And so then they dropped doing the BRICS. They said no, we're not going to be joining the BRICS. After, I don't know, like a year and a half, it looked like they were going to join the BRICS. We were following it. We're saying we could create it. With that, we could have created a BRIC index, which would have been really nice, like the way there's a dollar index. But that didn't last. So that did not last. All right, so there is the Nifty 50. Let's take a look at Aramco out of Saudi Arabia. Take a look at the action. Should have looked at that when we were looking at the energies, really. But we look at a couple of different Saudi Arabian companies that predominant in markets. See, look at that. They're buying that still. They're seeing it as a. See, they have a dividend, and their cost is so low. So Mr. Trump doesn't hurt them by making us a strong oil producer, because that means more buyers. They can sell more oil at a lower price instead of less oil at a higher price, which works out really well for a lot of people, like industry itself. Let's take a look at the metals manufacturing in Saudi Arabia. That's CPI type stuff, PPI type stuff. There it is. You see there, it's pretty steady, I mean, we've seen in October it was down in the 17s, low 17s. You see here, hanging around the low 18s now. Right there, it's 1774 basically today. But overall, it vacillates more in the sell, and you can see it's been somewhat of a downwardly slope. And then we started getting into the buy in here, right there. Went into a weekly buy here, and then climbed with the daily buy there too at the same time. All right, and then let's see. All right, now from there, I guess we can go to what I like to call Rocket's red glare, just like we talk about the Turkish lira, being the great experiment. Right there, there's the rocket's red glare. That's the Tel Aviv exchange. And it's cruising along at highs, you know. We should take a look at that. Is it really that high up? I think it's at all-time highs. Let's see, where do we go from there? Right there. And that's down for the day. Nothing else. All right, so we'll go into 6 month right there. And then we go to 1 year. Still looks like an all-time high to me. There's 5 years. Yep. So there's 22. And then let's go to all. Oh, yeah. So we're looking at all-time highs. Here's a country that's been under attack by a group of dysfunctional people, I want to say. They're definitely dysfunctional. They hurt their population. They use them as human shields. My goodness. How can you claim to be you care about your people when you use them as human shields? So that's the Tel Aviv exchange. You know, yesterday was an all-time high. Today they sold it down a little bit, 29 points, but still in the buy and still in a weekly buy. So, all right. From there we shoot over to let's go to Europe and we'll look at the FTSE 400 or something like that, the Italian index in Milan. Let's see, where is it at? We'll find it in a second. Let's see. It's here somewhere. Let's see, we'll just read it. March. MicroStrategy. Link Bancor. Let's see. We'll find it. There it is right there. The FTSE MIB. Here's Milan. Let's see how that goes. See, it's been rolling over like the Dow in some back and on. Not since back in here too. It started to push. I guess it's pushing down. I guess like the Dow Jones right here. You see, the last 5 out of 7 days it's been in a daily sell, but we've been in a weekly buy for 3 weeks, so they're not feeling too much of a problem there. But what's been really a surprise is the DAX. Let's see what the DAX is up to, but the DAX has been feeling a lot of pressure. Let's see, where are we? DAX. There it is. There's the DAX. Just a little pressure there. Still in a buy. It's 4 days in a sell, so not too bad. In this case here, it was 3 full days in a sell. Right there. But in a weekly buy, so you're neutral. You were prepared for weakness. What you did with it is what you will do with it. From there, we'll go over to let's go to Paris and see what's going on with the CAC 40. We haven't looked in a while there. Nice little move up there, and you see 3 weeks in a buy and was in a daily buy right there. So there's a loser. We lost on that one pretty well. Bang. Made money, and then if you didn't put a stop in to keep your money, say goodbye to your money. That's what that math is all about. You got to use the tools when you're in a buy and it's in a weekly buy, and you got to have what Robin calls money management. All right. From there, we'll take a look at the FTSE. There's the FTSE. There we go. Now that's been like the Dow. It's been in the sell for a while. You can see that. Started off on the 6th. Right there. It went into the sell there. And it's been in the sell all the way down. Now, see, now it only went into the weekly sell this week, so you only could really catch this whole action right there. So there was a winner chicken dinner. Now let's see Brussels. We have a Brussels index. Let's see what that. I always think that I'm looking at the ECB. You know, when I see the Brussels index, I think of it's trying to tell us, oh, we're in bad shape. You know, we're doing stupid things here. Let's see. I guess what we really should have is something like this. You know, the Polish index. See what they're doing. That would be interesting. Yeah, you see there, that's still in a buy and it's gapping and was in the sell here, so you had to be hedged in here somewhere if you were playing the long side of it, because it wasn't a buy from like back in here. And then we started going into the sell this week, and should make you cautious. At least have a stop in, that's for sure. All right, traders, where do we go from there? I guess that's about it. And we got to come up with a title too. I mean, you know, basically what it comes down to is Powell. Let's see, where's that? Right there, like that, right? There we go. Title. TITL. There's title. And the title will be today. It's got something to do with Mr. Powell, that's for sure. He's so disconnected from the markets, you know. So title today is, let's see, Fed. Let's see, I think I thought I've used this before, but I'm not sure. Fed, let's go back. Fed does understand economics. How about that? That's about pretty much the truth of it all. Fed doesn't understand economics. There we are. And that's the truth of it all. That's the problem. All right, traders, we're out of here. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, TGIF. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. That'll be tomorrow, Friday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends, especially at Tukascampi. So, ta-ta for now, traders. Be safe, be smart.